Right. So I'm in the Kollel. Rabbi Steiner was meant to speak today, but he told me he couldn't at the last minute. So here we are.
I have one request.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. When you use Hebrew terms, please in modern Hebrew,
Right.
not Ashkenazi.
Okay.
He's
Okay. Right. Right.
I'm not Sephardi, but
I'll try and translate everything so to make things as very clear as possible. But okay, I'll try my best. Here we go. So I thought it'd be a nice idea to learn a little bit about Kriyas Megillah, because we're getting to Purim, right? Kriyat Megillah, the reading of the Megillah on Purim, and I think there's many like aspects of it which aren't so known, because I think Purim is like it's a 1 day a year event, right? It's something which goes and comes very quickly, and therefore yeah, okay. So if you're in Israel, you have 2 days, but the rest
in Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem, exactly, in Jerusalem. But for most places, which the idea is, why is Jerusalem different? Why is Jerusalem? Do we have? It's really in Jerusalem. It's the next day, right? Purim. We keep Purim, which is called just the day of Purim, and in Jerusalem they have the next day, which is called Shushan Purim, right? So the idea of that is because in the times of the miracle of Purim, there was a second day given for the Jews to stand up, right? Stand up for themselves against their enemies in Shushan. And Shushan was the capital city of Persia at the time, and that was this was the city where really the nest happened of Martha Esther, right? And just to recap, in Shushan, the king Achashverosh gave them another day to stand up for themselves, and therefore that day is the day they celebrate, which is so you would say Shushan. What's the significance of Shushan? Because Shushan was a walled city, so any walled city from the time of Shushan has the status of that city, and therefore they would celebrate the next day. So Yerushalayim, which is a walled city, you could argue whereabouts in Jerusalem. That's another aspect. Where do we consider? Because the walled city of Jerusalem was relatively small compared to Jerusalem of today, right? But the custom is that the whole of Jerusalem keeps the second day of Purim, and but the rest of Israel keeps the first day. So ultimately, therefore, we have this situation where people will travel in Israel. They'll travel from all over Israel, from Beit Shemesh, from Tel Aviv, from Netanya, Herzliya, all the different cities. The people will say, okay, we'll celebrate Purim today, and then the next day we'll go to Jerusalem for Purim, right? So that's why in Israel you would have 2 days. But the rest of the world, which basically there isn't really any city nowadays which we consider walled from the time of Shushan, or that we know of, and therefore we all keep the first day, which is the day of Purim. I'm not sure which day. Is it Wednesday this year?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, right? So we Tuesday, and then the next day, and the next day, right? So Wednesday night will be in
Wednesday's Purim Shushan.
Is Shushan Purim, right? Okay, so like we said, because it's such a short Chag, therefore the celebrations and it all goes very quickly. So when you have like Sukkot, or you have Pesach, so these are Chagim, these are holidays where they're longer. So they're longer, people get more into them and they learn more about them, and they discover things. Whereas Purim is so short, so by the time you know it, it's gone already, right? So maybe it'll be nice to learn a few things about it. So we all know Hakol Chayovim B'Kriyasa. So I'm going to just bring out some things which the Shulchan Aruch writes, right? Rabbi Yosef Cairo, what he tells us about Purim, and then we can discuss a few elements and talk about them. So the first thing is that everyone is required B'Kriyasa in its reading. So really, which means that everyone needs to read. But we don't do that. One person reads, and everyone is yotza. Everyone hears, and that's good enough, right? So what's the idea that hearing the Megillah is good enough if you really are required to read it? So, right? Yeah. So the idea is that when you hear it, there's a rule which is called Shemir Ka'ina, right? Exactly, which means that if you hear it, it's like you said. So therefore, it's very important that in the Megillah we're going to see. that we need to concentrate on every word that we're hearing in the Megillah and that we're listening. Because if we don't listen and we don't hear what's being said, then we are not yotze the requirement of reading Megillah.
So one question.
Yes, sure.
Why you don't do that on the Birkat Hamazon?
Oh, so you bring up.
We do, actually, we do.
Oh, so what
But
do you
anyhow.
do? What do you do?
And when
Yeah.
somebody else
No, it's
says
very
the Birkat Hamazon aloud,
Yeah,
I say Amen, and that's it.
So the whole thing, or just for the first?
The whole
part?
thing.
Right. So you bring up a very good point.
But this you don't do. And neither do you do with shofar.
Oh,
Neither you do with lulav.
okay. So let's break this down. Yeah. Okay. Let's break this down. So you mentioned a few points.
Sorry.
No, it's very good. It's very good. It's very good you bring this up because this is one of the points I was actually thinking of speaking about. There is, so maybe this is why there's a difference between the Sfardim and Ashkenazim, because the person who addresses this point is I wasn't going to say that far, but okay, is
Most of the Jews today are Sephardim,
Mhm.
not Ashkenazim.
Yeah. So we're
Dank je deze keer niet tegenspreken.
the Ashkenazim are bottle.
Nemen ze de overhand.
Ja.
Maar
Wereldwijd hebben ze de overhand, maar gaat hem door. Okay. Anyhow.
So the person who addresses this point is the Rosh. Has anyone heard of the Rosh? Yeah. So the Rosh is was I would say in halacha, in how we paskin, how we make a law, how we judge laws. There were many great sages over the times, but ultimately it came down to a few individuals who we go accustomed to. So everyone knows the Bet Yosef, everyone knows, right? But who did when the Bet Yosef wrote down the halacha? Very often he wrote a bit faster. Yeah, a bit faster.
no,
Or slower.
Slower.
One point, when you got the recording, let's say here we're on Zoom, you can just put on the 1.25 or 1.5. So I'll try. Okay. I'll try to speed up a bit. So when you have the halacha, we go the Beit Yosef. He will generally bring down three. There's three places where he would bring down. He would bring down from the Rambam, and we all know the Rambam, the Maimonides. Then you have the Rif, right? Rabbeinu Alfasi. He's at the back of every Gemara. You will have the Rif. And then there's the third one is the Rosh, who's also generally at the back of the Gemara. So the Rambam and the Rif was Fardi, and the Rosh was Ashkenazi, right? The Rosh in the Tshuva, right? So he wrote Tshuvas, which were basically people asked him questions and he would reply. So in one of his answers, he speaks about this point, where he brings up Birkat Hamazon, your point, and he says, why don't we all just say like the custom at the time was actually for the first bracha, that when you had, let's say, more than 3 people in a room, you did zimun, and then the person who did zimun, that said Rabbi Yisrael Nevarech, or Rabbi Yisrael, in Ashkenazi, some communities say Mirvel and Bench in Yiddish, but right, and then he would carry on Baruch Atah Hashem, right, and say the first bracha. But now the custom is, like we say, that generally most or Ashkenazim, you're saying Sfardim don't do that, is that the Ashkenazim everyone says it themselves. So the Rosh explains the reason for this is because concentration. People don't concentrate. So if a person will, even though it's true, there's a law of Shemei Ka'ina, that hearing is like saying, but if the concentration span of the human being is not long enough to even for one bracha and Birkat Hamazon to listen to every word, then you're not Yotza, right? And therefore, to avoid this, everyone should say their own their own
Homer on the Megilah, which is much longer.
So that's the problem. So Megilah is much longer, and you'd think that everyone should read it. So that is why there are some opinions that you should mouth it very quietly along. But generally, the idea is the best idea for Megilah to avoid this issue is to follow along with your finger. So at least if you know your finger's on the place, then you know that you're holding with, that it's gone in somewhat. You've registered it. Right, it's a hard thing. Megilah is a hard thing. But just this point, this idea of Shemei Ka'ina, this is what we see that there are some. I don't know if you've ever seen this idea, the custom by Kiddush on Friday night, that every person says Kiddush. I think the Hasidim, they do this a lot. You find a lot by Hasidim, right? And it's based on the same idea. It's the same idea because if a person doesn't listen to Kiddush, then he's not Yotze because he needs to hear every word. He needs to concentrate on every word. So it's that idea. So that's the first point of that we see.
Hearing is not understanding, eh?
No, so you don't need to understand. Just the fact that you hear the words, that's good enough. And so if one the idea is if one is following along, especially if one's following along in a let's say a chumash, right at the back you'll have a Megilah. So if you're missing out a word or two and you didn't hear it, you can read. It doesn't matter. You don't need to hear every single word from a scroll. Even a Megillah, which is puzzle, you can hear up to half, right? Not more. Most of it has to be. It's got enough roiv, right? That most of the Megillah you have to hear from an actual Megillah scroll. But if there's a few words that you missed out, you should quickly say it along and catch up the chazan, and then you're good.
There is no under limit to read the Megilah. I mean, it's read very fast. Even in Dutch, you can't follow it if you want to.
Yeah.
You don't understand it.
Yeah.
So what's the point of doing it so quick? If you want people to understand and to follow it. But then it's you stand there and you do this and you hear it and you don't even look. So what's the point of this if
you want to finish
if you don't understand.
Come on, let us.
It's a funny thing because I think in Megillah most of the language we say, it's a funny thing. People were speaking
Not now anymore.
Yeah. So can you
they were speaking Aramaic.
To finish.
Okay. And even so, it's even worse.
Yeah, so that's why actually it's funny. There are a lot of times you'll have in Judaism you'll find like certain paragraphs that are said in Aramaic, right? So and the reason for that is because at the time the most understood language was Aramaic, not Hebrew.
Yeah.
So that we do have. But you're asking, can you let's say you didn't understand that you want to read it? Can you read it in Targum? Can you read it in your translation? How you want to? So yeah. So I think it is discussed. I haven't looked into that right now. It is discussed, and as far as I understand it, it could be if it was translated properly, and you did read it, you are Yotze. I think the lechatchila, the main way to read it is to read it in Hebrew, even if one doesn't understand it.
If they make a mistake in reading,
you're
correct. If it's a Torah, you do.
Yeah.
Do it in the Megillah.
Yeah, so one has to. So if it's a mistake which changes the meaning of the word, then yes, yeah. But if it doesn't, then I think most opinions are that it's okay. That you're okay.
Correct. You make noise in between because you miss words.
Yeah. So
that's the we. Huh? That's the we. We don't.
No, it's not correct to do since you miss words of the chazan.
But you point with your finger.
Wait.
Yeah, he can wait. Can wait from me.
Normal. Yeah, they wait.
By he,
over. Yeah.
I wait.
Yeah.
Be me, I wait. Achashverosh.
Yeah, you could wait.
Ja. Dan ben je met je Surat Purim ben je nog niet klaar. Ja, dat scheelt.
So we have so we see over here we speak about it here. Let me just check this up. We have this over here that if you read it, it says Haloyes Sheshama es Megilah Haksuva Beloshna Kodesh Ubekisve Kodesh Afal Pi She'eino Yodea Mahim Omrim. Yeah, this is the point. He doesn't understand what they're saying. Yotze Yodei Chivasa. He is still Yotze his mitzvah. Right. So the Mishnah Berurah says, Rabbi Mishnah Berurah was the Chavetz Chaim, right? This is Ashkenazi, but okay, he says, we say ha'achashtronim b'nei ha'ramochim. Yeah, that's what we say in the Megillah, right? Regarding the Amrachim. So he says, Gamanan lo yedinu mazeh. We don't know what this meaning of these words mean. So we see, even if we don't know the meaning of words, yeah, then it's okay. We're still Yotze. Yeah. So So that's why everyone is Yotze, even if we don't understand. Okay, so that's what we say over there. So coming back to the Kriya, so we said that everyone is required, meaning men and women are required to hear the Megillah, right? So why are women required to hear Megillah? Normally we have a rule, especially even in
time.
Right. So even in rules which are midoraisa, even in mitzvahs which are like we find that, say, by shaking the lulav, if a lady wants to shake the lulav, it's very nice, wonderful. But there's no requirement for a lady to sit in the sukkah, because there's a rule that mitzvah aseh has man grama, a mitzvah aseh has man grama, right? Which the time is time sensitive mitzvah. Such a mitzvah is not required. Noshim apturis. Women are exempt from doing these mitzvahs, right? So the question is why is Megillah different? So we know the answer to that is because they were also included in the miracle. The miracle
The Siddur, little Siddur sing.
Which Siddur?
Leila Siddur.
Leila Seder, yeah. So Leila Seder, the reason, it's a good question. What's the reason for that? So we could talk about that as well because we're getting close to Pesach. The idea is that I think the reason by Pesach is because there's a law that anyone who is the Gemara says anyone who's included bechalal lo yochel chametz, do not eat chametz, is also included in the haseh of to eat matzah. Right? We find this idea also by Shabbos. Even though by Shabbos we have a mitzvah haseh, we also have mitzvah. We have what's the mitzvah of Shabbos of keeping zocher, shomer. These are positive requirements, right? The law of zman grama, that time sensitive mitzvahs, a woman is potter, is only on positive commandments. On negative commandments, she's always right. Right, there's no exemption, right? So let's say lama tes melachot of Shabbos is also zman grama, but women are mechuyev. So the Gemara says the same idea. If women are required to in the lois aseh of Shabbos, then they also need to keep the positive requirements of Shabbos, right? Because anyone who's bechlal the lamates malachas has lamates also I think it's anyone who's bechlal zocher is bechlal shomer, right? Or the other way around, right? So this is this idea that if you have by Pesach, that's why women are mechuyev in Leila Seder to eat matzah. Matzah is actually the only mitzvah say we have. We have also megadtem, right? But the action of eating, morer and dalet kosas are only midrabanan, right? So that's only a rule by the sages. Whereas the mitzvah say, which says be'erev toichlu matzos, that is hakosov kavul chayva. The pasuk requires us to eat matzah. That's midiraisa, and that women are also mechuyev because. For that reason there. But why by Megilah are women required? Because Afhein Hoybois Hanes, they were also included in the miracle. Why were they included? What does it mean they were included in the miracle? Because they had the Gezerah, the Lahashmeid or Laharik Abed, it's Kol Yehudim Minav Zaken, right? Tafan Noshim Yom Echad. They were also included in that, and they were saved. So therefore, they also required to hear Megilah. And so too children that are under the age of a mitzvah also have a mitzvah we have a mitzvah of chinuch to bring them up and for them to sit and hear the Megillah, right? So as long as they're not disturbing, if they're going to disturb, Mishnah Berurah is very busy with that, and I don't know if we have it so much nowadays because now the people that read the Megillah, generally when there's Haman and people start banging, then generally he'll go over the words, right? And so generally in most shuls it's okay. Most schools are not letting off fireworks, and it's okay, it's manageable, right? But in the time of Mishnah Berurah, it was obviously not, because he writes a lot about how for example, he writes women going to shul to hear the Megillah. He says there in the back in the Ezra's Noshim in the ladies' gallery, they're not going to hear anything, right? That's what he writes. But nowadays it's different because, like we say, we know the laws are more known. We know that If we don't hear, we're not yotza, and therefore most shuls they try to make this make it possible that everyone should hear. So it's not something we should be so worried. But at the same time, if a child, it's not beneficial. It's to no one's benefit to bring a child into here if the child is not getting anything. I mean, he's just going to make noise, right?
Just a question. A microphone. Megilah, is that allowed?
Oh.
Because we can say the women are not hearing it.
Yeah. So it's a very good point.
Or van een shofar.
Is maybe different.
Yeah.
And then
So microphone. What about? Is a good point. What about hearing aids?
Exactly.
Yeah. So hearing aids also is the same idea because you're not hearing the sound straight from the mouth, right? So I know Rav Moshe Feinstein says that microphones is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the dirshu here. I don't have the dirshu. Yeah, so I know. I think I checked it up a while ago. I think Moshe Feinstein says it's okay, but he even talks about can you hear it from a recording, from a tape recorder? Yeah, which is a real.
Sure.
Yeah, so we don't like to go with that. We say do the mitzvah as best as you can. But if one was in a desert island, he didn't have a Megilah, and the only way of hearing was someone reading out from a Zoom, something over Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Corona.
Right, Corona and Zoom, right? There are opinions that you are yotza, right? Because you are hearing it, right? As long as the
So reading Megilah, I should go to all those rooms in a hospital to read it.
To read, exactly.
Instead of that you have in general microphone.
Right. So it definitely is something. It definitely is. I would say like this: if one can go to shul, and hear it properly to the best of one's ability, one should do that. If one can't, for every reason, then definitely it's worth something. It's definitely there are opinions that you yotza by hearing over Zoom. So it's a very good point. Going back to hearing aids, this is I mean it's very debated, I think, by shofar. Right, by shofar, that's because shofar one is not allowed to hear indirect, right, from a boiler, for example. So if one is in a pit, right, putje, yeah. So then
Zegt dat in een put.
okay, yeah. So if one and the only way one hears is through the rebounding of the sounds against the walls, right? Then that one is not the mitzvah of shofar. So the question is, though, it could be it could be that hearing aids are different in that rather it's just magnifying the sound which exists already. It's not an echo. No, it's not true.
Not true.
Okay, so
you have these people who have it. They have how I say it. And hoe heet dat ding?
Hearing aid.
No, not a hearing aid. It's it has an extra what?
Aangelegd.
Yeah, aangelegd. They have in their brain on the nerve.
Yeah.
So they don't hear anything.
No.
Without it, they wouldn't hear anything. Oh, so this is the point. So, but coming to Megilah, this is the point. It seems to be the Mishnah Berurah says. He says it's very important. So let's go back a stage. It's important, like we said, that you hear, and every word should come to you. You should be able to hear it, right? So even if you're reading it, the Megilah, if you read it and you can't hear, so what about if you have a deaf person who reads the Megilah, but you can't hear it, right? So he's reading it. So the answer is, so the Mishnah Berurah says actually something very interesting because he says, that there's a rule that, let's say you're saying Shemona Esrei, right? You're davening, you're saying Shemona Esrei, the Amidah, and you're standing up and you're whispering, but you don't hear what you're saying. So the idea is you should hear. You should be able to. The whisper that you're saying should be able to reach your ears, right? But what if you don't hear it? So there's a rule that even if even though there's a rule that you should hear it, but if it doesn't reach your ears, you're yotza. By Chris Megilah, it's not like that. Right? Megilah, that it's mishum persumanissa, we're spreading the miracle. We are more stringent. That the listening, the reaching one's ears is likuva, is mandatory, right? Why is that so? Yeah, because since it's more important, we see over here, it's more important. You should know actually there's the takana of Megilah.
Implantaat it's called. What means it is you have an external microphone, which is connected to your bone, to your nerve.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow, incredible. But that's not a standard. That's not a standard hearing aid. Hearing aid, a general hearing aid just magnifies.
People have to hear something.
Oh,
that's the difference.
Right.
Difference. But these people, they don't hear anything because they don't have. I say trommelvlies. Hoe zeg je trommelvlies? The membrana tympani. How you say that? Tympanic brain. A membrane.
Right. Membrane. Yeah. Membrane. Yeah.
Well, when you do have some function of a tympanic membrane, it's fine.
Right.
On the moment you don't have, and you don't have even from you say bone, transmitting.
Right. And you don't have anything. Wow.
And when you have it directly on the nerve, then it's something
that would be much worse. It's very interesting you bring that point up. It's very that would be worse. So let's explain over here. We see that by Megilah, if we're saying if you don't hear it, if you're reading and you don't hear anything, you're not yotza. What is the idea of that? Even though in other places when you're saying it, if you're the one reading it, you are yotza by Shemoneh Esrei. So the idea is that because the Mishnah Berurah first says that but it's more chomo, it's more stringent by Megilah because of Pirsamon Nesa. But then he gives a different reason.
But that means you're out of the nest.
No, so I think the idea is because I'm not sure if he means it just because we have to spread it. So that means you need to hear it, or I think he might just be saying it's a more of a it's more chomo. It's more of a the whole idea of Kriyas Megilah is more stringent. It's actually I was going to say it's we know that Shemoneh Esrei, the Amidah, was constituted by the Anshe Knesset Agdola, which came after the period of the Megilah. Megilah was even before that, right? So in levels of severity, this is a higher level, right? It's even closer to. It's not quite a Deraisa, but it's closer, right? It's closer to the Nevi'im, more that period. Right, so Madcha was the end. This was like the end of right. It's in the Megilah. It's in the end of the Nevi'im, period of the Nevi'im. So it was before. I think even Madcha was one of the Anshe Knesset Agdola later. But in the time of the requirements of Megilah, this preceded it. This was before. But the first reason we're saying is Megilah is more chomer. But then we have another idea which comes into this whole world of which we're discussing here about earphones. What they called hearing aids. Yeah. So the reason is because when a person reads the Megilah, reads Shemoneh Esrei, and he can't hear it, he's yotza. He is an able body. He can hear. He just when he read, he didn't hear. So it's like we find this idea in Torah a lot. If you are able to do something and you didn't do it, it's okay because you have the ability to do it. But if someone is clinically deaf and he cannot hear at all, he can't hear, then he's not able. He cannot hear. So the fact that he didn't hear is a problem for him because he's not able to hear. If a person is able to hear, right? So this is where it comes in by Megilah. If a person is able to hear, right, just
without his
he can hear something. As long as he can hear something, if someone would scream Megilah into his ear,
he can't hear anything.
Right? Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So that if one hears, I'm saying this is talking about the Korah, right? The one who's reading. And so if a person can hear something, even if he's not, if it was a very 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 loud, extremely loud noise right next to his ear, he'd be able to hear it. Then the fact that it magnifies it, that's okay. That's really okay. That we see clearly over here. Anything more than that, right? So he won't be able to be yotza other people. Someone a chersh won't be able to yotza other people. Doesn't mean that he's not yotza himself. Yeah, if he hears it, but he won't. What we see over here is that he won't be able to be motzi anyone else. Their chayva, right? But generally, for most people, I think that with a hearing aid, they would be able to hear a very, very loud noise if it was right next to their ear, right?
Can somebody work during the Megilah reading? He hears it. So is that allowed? Working? You're working during the Megilah reading.
Yeah. So as long as you that goes back to the point. As long as you can register, if if you're good at multitasking, I would say that if you can, yeah, exactly. So if you can register every word, and you can follow along and do work. Some people have crazy abilities, and then yes. But for the majority of people, I would say it's not advised to do that because you will probably find yourself just wandering off. And in England, we'd say, you can't, if it's like you can listen to the cricket in the background and do something else, but you can't.
They can do it. Men can't.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
But another thing is, since women are obliged, so they, as Creator Torah, they're allowed to do a Creator Torah for males.
Okay.
It's not our custom anymore. Because we think men are much more important than women.
Can women be mighty a man here by Chris Megilah? So this is a very, very important point.
Because for the Creator Torah, they are allowed to. Not for Chazanut, because Chazanut is singing, but and Katan and a woman, what are they saying? Because they are all stupid people. Okay. Or lesser degrade than men.
Right. Okay, this is a very important point.
But since they are obliged to, at the moment, I'm not obliged to. I can't do.
So this
I
is a
can't
very
be
big
safe
topic.
for somebody else.
So this is a very big topic. If you have the general idea is you can only be yotza someone on your level or lower than your level. You cannot be yotza. So let's say so if a man has a chiv deiraisa, sometimes you'll find that a man has a chiv deiraisa and a lady will have a chiv derabbanan. So I'll give you an example. If a person on Friday night, kiddush is midiraisa, zach v'shomer is midiraisa. So when one comes to kiddush, the man's requirement, technically speaking, is deiraisa. The thing is, though, that you're yotza kiddush b'dibur, right? For most opinions. So even Reb Kiva Eiger says,
when the man is not able, the woman has to.
Okay. But let's say, so if a man, let's say if a man isn't at home, then the lady should have to make kiddush herself, right? So, but her requirement is only on a derabbanan level for kiddush. So if the man, so like this. So you could argue that when the man he goes to shul, so he's already done his kiddush midiraisa. So he only has to do it al hakois is derabbanan. So now they're equal. So that's an argument to say that the lady now should be able to yotza the man, right? This is your point, right? But so this becomes
as I heard, when the man is not able anymore, she is the she has to.
100%. Because if they're on their level, then they could. But if she has if he let's say didn't do he didn't daven in shul, so he didn't say good Shabbos to anyone. He didn't. Reb Kiva Eiger says even if you say good Shabbos, then you yotza. It's a big kiddush. But if you just say to someone in shul good Shabbos, that's already yotza the deiraisa of kiddush, right? But leaving that aside, if he didn't do that and he has a deiraisa, then he won't be able to be yotza with a derabbanan level. He has to do it himself. But so here by Megilah, you would say that they're both on the same level, right? That would be the understanding. But it's not so simple because
The Yod is not simple.
Because exactly nothing Jewish is simple. But the
simple must maken het moeilijk.
Because there's three opinions. If women are just laning for themselves, there's one. I'll just give the one opinion where we see they're on a different level. Is that we say that the lady is not shouldn't make a bracha. What do we say? Likroi Megilah, Al Kriyas Megilah, Al Kriyas, is it Al Kriyas Megilah? Okay, So we say so we make a bracha on the kriya, on the reading. The ladies, they only there's one opinion that the ladies should only make on the
hearing.
So actually we
on the hearing.
That's good.
Small.
Met shofar.
Zegt u wel.
So we have over here
Vrouwen zijn ook niet verplicht om shofar te horen, dus klaar.
Right. So let me go back a stage. I didn't even realize I haven't even been through all the halachot. But we have over here the Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Cairo, who was Sfardi. So listen, we have to listen to this. He says, there is an opinion. There are opinions. That women cannot be moitzi men. Right? Mm-hmm. And then the Ramah, which is Ashkenazi, he goes on to say, if a lady reads to herself, then she says, she makes the bracha, Lishmoya Megilah. She'ena chayeves b'kriya. She is not chayev in reading, she's been chayev in listening. Right? Which is also, this was my idea. And the Mishnah Berurah says that that's the reason why the Mechaber says you're not Yotza. This is one of the reasons he says, is because the man is on a higher level than the lady, because the man is required to read, whereas the lady is only required to listen. So even though she has to listen, it's not the same level. Another reason, he says, the Mishnah Berurah says another reason. I don't know if we take all these reasons, because
on the moment there are more reasons why no one is valid.
Right, exactly. No, so the lady, she'll be moitzi herself. She can read and she'll be moitzi, but she won't be moitzi the man.
You get a film that is, and you get the whole Megilah is on there, and you hear the voice attached to it.
Yeah,
there is an hearing and there is a reading.
Right.
Is that what we can do?
Yeah,
so
because
big audience and
so it's like
and there's nobody doing it itself.
It's a recording. So that's what we spoke about. The recording. Yeah, the record. It could be. Yeah. So it's not like we said. If one can go to shul, that's the best thing. Probably the second best thing would be hearing it live. Yeah. But if you couldn't hear it live, and the only thing was a recording and thing, like we said, it's a pandemic, and you know everyone's the person's in hospital, and this is all you can do. Then that is also something. But like we said,
is never alive.
Yeah. Because there's
always an interval in between.
Yeah. There's always a lag. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. But the best, like we say, the best thing would be, and which is the custom which we all do, is we go to shul and we should hear the kriya. If one can't for whatever reason, then yes, and hearing it over a recording is an option. But like we say, we shouldn't rely on that. Unless we have to. So going back, there's another idea of why the women shouldn't be. We got busy into this. Why women shouldn't read for men, because he says it's not. Because actually, it's very funny. Sometimes we could have, let's say, on Chanukah. Yeah. Sometimes we could have that when generally the custom is that the man lights and he lights for his wife. Yeah. But if the man's out of town and he can't light, he's away. The classic example, he's away at the fair, right? Yeah, I think the halacha is brought down because it used to be the custom was to go to Leipzig. Yeah, that was the Leipzig fair that men used to go to peddlers used to go to collect to get supplies and everything. They would go to Leipzig fair to get the best of everything, and they were away for many days. And if that fell over Hanukkah and their wife was at home, could the wife light for the husband, right? So there we find the idea that a lady could light for her husband, right? And the husband would be yotza with that lighting, right? But what we have over here is that a lady cannot. The Mechaber says yesh omrim she'anoshim einam mitzis anoshim. They cannot. Right. So he says, what's the reason? Yeah. So he says, because it's like, he says the Shani Megilah to have a k'moy kriyas haTorah. Kriyas Megilah is like the laning of the Torah. Upsula, and is not allowed for ladies to read for men. Mipnei covered at tzibur, because of the covered of the convent. It's not covered for the tzibur. Right. So this is what the Mishnah Berurah says.
A woman, and as well as a cotton, they are allowed to do the Kriyat Torah.
Yeah.
So in the same way.
But so you're right. So even though technically it's good, what we're seeing over here is because of the covered of the tzibur, it's not. So the same reason we have Megilah, we see at the beginning of Megilah.
Achter het aanrecht. Wij horen er niet achter vandaan te komen.
Dan maar lezen.
Ze hebben twee rechten.
Ze konden ook niet lezen vroeger. Ze kenden te veel uit hun hoofd, dus ze konden niet lezen.
Ja.
Sorry.
we have another rule, which I'll just try and bring out the idea of kavod hatzibur. We have a rule that one is not allowed to read the Megilah sitting down. So if you've got a whole shul over here, people, I'm just sitting here reading Megilah, yeah, I have to stand. You can all sit, but I have to stand. Why? Because I have to show kavod. If I was reading, I have to show the respect to the community, and you show respect by standing. If you're sitting with it doesn't give over respect to the people in front of you. So it's the same idea that we're saying for men. It's not respectful that to hear a kriya from a lady. That's the same idea that we're seeing of kavod hatzibur. Now you could argue and say that it's different, and everyone's got different minhagim and different things. Yeah, different times. That could be, but I'm just bringing down what's brought down in the Mishnah Berurah. Okay.
So it's also saying implicit that a man should always the one who is
four men should stand. Yeah, 100%. He shouldn't sit. Yeah, we bring down. There is
he's okay.
Oh, so we say that normally there's a rule that when one has to stand, one's not allowed to lean. Right, shouldn't lean. So we have this by Shemona Esra, right? Shouldn't lean over. That if you're supported by the table, right, then it's basically like you're sitting, right? That's the idea. But by Megilah, we say it's okay because since the whole requirement of standing is only because of kavod hatzibur, so leaning is okay. We have that brought down. I think if I remember correctly, that leaning is okay. So like we say, the whole idea of it is kavod hatzibur. Technically, you're yotza. This was your point. Technically, if a lady, there's no problem. But this idea that we're saying that there's a requirement of the person who reads to respect his audience, that is required. So the Mishnah Berurah is right in that both of those cases could be. The other aspect which he says, like we're going back, is the other idea is even if it's not a problem of kavod hatzibur, the reason is if a man's chiyuv is higher because he has to read and a lady has to hear, then that would be a technical issue. That would be more of a technical problem, which wouldn't be able to work. But okay, that's those are the yesh omrim, like you say. Could be there's an opinion that says differently. The yesh, whenever you say yesh omrim, that implies that someone argues on that. Okay. Let me see if there's any other points.
Might be more yesh omrim.
Yeah.
Altijd.
We've had also. Another thing where we find the idea of kavod hatzibur is that if one came into a shul when there's loads of people around, you can't just start reading the Megilah. We say asur lechazan likros haMegilah ad she'im lo yikra. You're forbidden from reading the Megilah until you say read, until the tzibur tells him. So it's the same idea. You have to respect your audience. Your audience has to come around and tell you, okay, now is the time for you to read, and then he read. You can't just come in, right? Open your Megilah, start reading, right? It's not respectful to your audience.
The Megilah is the same covered as the Torah.
Yeah, it's basically the same idea.
Disguise.
Yeah.
You don't go on Shabbos in disguise to shul because of the reading of the Torah.
Oh, you mean in the custom to come dressed up? Yeah. So what's the idea? Is it respectful? Is it respectful? Yeah. So it could be. This is a point. I don't know. Every community is different.
Not in my shul.
Yeah, it could be. But I think the idea is it's become like a world custom. Yeah. So then it's like, okay, it's established. That's always you have whenever something is even Mishnah Berurah writes that having gragas is really disturbing. But at the end of the day, this is the custom that the world do. So no one's gonna not hear.
Actually, we don't make noise.
Right.
Because you have to hear the whole
exactly
Megilah. Sorry.
Yeah.
So therefore, better not to make noise. So in order to understand each word.
Yeah, exactly. So that your point is 100% true. You have to hear every single word, and if the noise, if the gragas take away the thing, that's very disturbing, and that's why Mishnah Berurah writes the whole time how upsetting it is that you can't hear.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
You repeated.
Yeah. So you bring up another point. You just said, what if you said, I didn't hear you. So you said you spoke in the middle of Megilah. Is that a problem?
The Shem Mitzvah is something.
Okay, it's true. You have that. Let's say very often you'll have, let's say in Bdikat Chametz, you're not allowed to speak once you made the bracha So if you say, give me the torch, that's okay. because it's part of the mitzvah. This is your point. But let's say you just said, what's the time? Pass me this. Yeah, pass me this. Right. For Hamoitzi, right? So it's the same idea. Yeah. But what happens if you didn't? Why don't you say, what's the time? What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Right.
But it has nothing to do with.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with it. What do you do? So it's okay, as you have to make sure you didn't miss any words. Like we say, the same idea. You have to go back and read. Yeah, but it's not a problem. It's just like stopping. If you stop for a minute, you say "Vayhi b'mei," like you said, and then you stop for a minute. It's fine, right? As long as you make sure you carry on, as long as you don't miss anything. So if you've missed something and you didn't hear something because you spoke, then you have to read over in the Chumash what you missed. But it's not, one shouldn't, if one can help it, talk. But if one hasn't ruined the whole Megillah just because you said a few words, right? That's an important fact.
Nog een melk? Mag ik een melk pakken?
Tuurlijk. Dank u wel. Even.
Je mag het allemaal meenemen.
Dus ook voor meningen plus 1, zeg ik altijd. Hè? Die eentje die we allemaal.
Die is ook niet.
Okay, so I just finish off on one point. We say you're not allowed to also read the Megillah backwards, right? So for the same reason, it's very important where if we do miss out a few words, that we catch up exactly to where the Chazan's up to. If we missed out, let's say Vayehi, and the Chazan's started already, you can't just say it now, Vayehi, and that's it. It's good. I've said it. I heard it. You have to hear it in order. The Megillah has to be heard. We say Hakuras Megillah lemafreya backwards in retrospect lo yotza. You don't fulfill your requirement, right? So the same idea.
People is okay.
Huh?
Different people.
Yeah.
Each
Different
after each other.
Yeah.
Each another chapter.
Yeah, that's true. But it has to be in order. If you can't hear backwards, right? And therefore, if you didn't hear, and therefore you had to fill in the gap yourself, you should make sure you catch up to where the Chazan is up to, or the Baal Korah is up to, and then that's great. So this applies both in words and also in psukim. So you can't just like fit a whole pasuk, read the pasuk Gimel, and then go back to pasuk Aleph. It has to be Aleph, Beis, Gimel, etc. in order, right? That's a requirement. And another thing is one is not allowed to read the Megillah, Baal Peh, right? One has to hear the Megillah through, meaning if you've got a Baal Korah who's exceptionally gifted Baal Korah and he wants to just read it all from memory, he's not yet. So you have to read it from the Ksav.
Blind Chazan is fine, but the blind reading Megilah is not.
So if you can't read it, if he's blind, he can't read it.
No, but it can be a Chazan.
Yeah, it can be a Chazan. Yeah. 100%.
But the Megilah, no.
No, exactly. Okay, I think we can leave it there. I think that's
in other language.
So the Mechaber, the Bet Yosef writes that if it's written, let's say in Hebrew, and you are an excellent translator and you can translate it into Dutch, then you're not Yotza, because
You're not Yotza.
Because if you are translating into a different Metogam, exactly, then it's basically, that's called Baal Peh, because you're not reading it you're just reading it to translate, but the words that are coming out your mouth, basically.
It's written in the Megillah. I remember there was one exposition years and years ago, and I saw a Megillah in German.
So we say over here that if you hear, it has to be from the language it's written in. So we say if it's Huisa Ksuva Targum or Bilashna Haris Milashonis Akum Lo Yotzi Yidei Chivasa B'Kriyasa Elo Hamazke Oisa Lashon Bilvad. Unless you read it in that lashon. So if you read it in that lashon, that's okay. If you read it in that language fully, then that's okay. Yeah, that's what the Bet Yosef says.
Hebrew.
Oh, so that I can't. It's a different language. So he says that if someone is here's the Megillah, which is if it's written which means from secular languages, lo yotza yedei chayvasa b'kriyasa. Yeah. Ella, it's important. Ella hamakir oiseh haloshen bilvad. Only if you recognize and understand that language. But that's what we said. But Hebrew, even if you don't understand it, that was the difference. In Hebrew, even if you don't understand it, then that's okay. Okay, wonderful. No problem. It's very good. It's keeping me on my toes.
Yes, Shkoyach.
Okay. Shkoyach, Shkoyach.
Shkoyach.
So I've actually been here a few years and I've never given a share over here.
Listen,
It's very nice.
I always ask Rav Paul,
Yeah.
and he's not allowed to ask the colleague.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
Maybe
the new rabbi, Rabbi Fisher.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's allowing people.
I don't know. The truth is, I didn't really ask him. David Steinauer. David Steinauer told me you can't do it today. Can I just finish? I said, okay, I'll do it today. But
I asked
right,
Paul in beginning.
Right.
He didn't want to come by himself.
We don't talk.
Okay, very good. Okay. All the best.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
See
Thank you.
later.
Thank you. Baruch Hashem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ben nefashos haois. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also here. Also in Amstelveen.
Have a great Chodesh. Misha nichnas Adar Marvin.
Fijne dag, bedankt.
Get nice and happy. Okay, all the best.
Opname.
Dankjewel, Paul. Fijne dag.
Okay, bye. Have a nice day.